In today's brief video, I want to speak directly to anyone who's ready to stop smoking weed, but who's struggling to find a solid reason as to why they want to stop smoking. There's a lot of people out there who are currently struggling with THC addiction, who are leading relatively successful lives that know they want to stop, but are failing to find a good reason as to why that is. If that sounds like you, I promise today's video is going to help. Now, if you're new to the channel, my name's Dr. Frank. I'm the founder of AddictionMindset recovery coaching programs, which are dedicated to helping people quit nicotine, THC, energy drinks, and adult media content, substances I once struggled with. At the end of today's video, be sure to check out the video description or the pinned comment to download your free 7-step guide to quitting smoking weed today, to learn more about our one-on-one paid addiction recovery coaching program resources. A lot of people that I speak to when it comes to quitting weed give me a bunch of reasons why it is they want to quit. And I think some of these reasons are rooted in watching videos similar to that we have on this channel and other channels that are dedicated to addiction recovery. So commonly when I'm speaking to someone, a question I'll ask is, why? Why is it that you want to quit? And this is probably one of the most important questions that I ask a person. The reason being is because the why is what's going to motivate us. The why is what we're going to lean on when times get tough throughout our quitting journey. So it has to be a very powerful reason. Now, what I find is a lot of people's reasons why are often flawed because the reasons that they provide to me don't directly apply to them. So when I'm having these conversations, people will often say, well, I want to quit because financially it's costing me a lot of money, despite the fact that this person has no real financial struggle. They'll say, well, I want to quit for health reasons. This is usually a younger individual, despite the fact that they're not facing any health consequences. People will say, well, I want to quit because I want to have better relationships and I want to have more social connection, despite the fact that this person has no strain on their relationships and they have plenty of social connection. So the question becomes, how does the person who's doing relatively well in most categories of life, who's having success in their relationships and their finances and their physical health, why? Why would this person quit? What would motivate them to stop? Why is it that they want to stop? And what I often say to people is, listen, you can't watch a video like mine and quit for reasons that I mention if those reasons don't apply to you. You can't read a form on Reddit and quit for reasons that people mentioned on Reddit if those reasons don't apply to you. Your why has to be deeply personal in order for that why to mean something. Now, if you're sitting there saying, well, geez, I don't know then. In that case, I really don't have a good reason why. I would challenge you this. What I often find, especially in people that we work with who are entrepreneurs, type A personalities, who have mass amounts of success already in their life, despite cannabis addiction, the reason why is rooted in a challenge. It's rooted in commitment. It's rooted in determination. It's rooted in wanting to grow more and get outside of that individual's comfort zone. I'll pose you with this question. Why would someone run a marathon? Why would someone ever start to build a business? Why would an entrepreneur ever take on that daunting task? Why would someone climb a mountain? Why would someone go do X, Y, or Z challenge, right? Why would someone put themselves through that stuff? And the reason is because it's to achieve a certain level of growth. It's to say that they're going to do something, and it's to see that something through. And for many people, I view quitting smoking weed and addiction recovery as no different. This is your marathon. This is your mountain to climb. This is your next challenge where you are going to have an opportunity to develop discipline, to harden determination, to practice patience, to level up when it comes to your grit, your ability to get back up after being knocked down. For many people who struggle to find a reason why they want to stop, sometimes the best reason is as simple as saying you're going to do something and seeing that something through. Now, I actually believe this is one of the most powerful reasons that someone can latch onto when it comes to quitting a substance. People will often start quitting a substance rooted in motivational reasons. So I'm motivated to quit because I want to see more money in my bank account. I'm motivated to quit so I can keep my marriage together, so I can keep my girlfriend or my boyfriend. I'm motivated to quit for some extrinsic external factors or external reasons. And here's the problem. Once we quit and we accomplish said things, so you stop and your health improves, you stop and your relationship levels out, you stop and you get X amount of money in your bank account, suddenly that motivation is going to fade away. Our why suddenly becomes meaningless because we've now accomplished the goal. When we're quitting from a place of self-inflicted challenge, when we're quitting from a place of friction, when we're quitting from a place of seeking growth by getting outside of our comfort zone, there is no end to that journey. There is no end to that process. That goal line can always be moved back again and again and again when we're working in the space of self-improvement. There is no end to growth, but it's my firm addiction that growth is the end of addiction. And what people often will find happens is that they switch over from a circuitry of motivation to a circuitry of determination and discipline. And often this is what quitting a substance requires. It's very easy to get motivated early on, and a majority of people, that motivation is going to get wiped out once the withdrawals hit. They're going to say, you know what, too much, I'm not that motivated, this sucks, and boom, they wind up relapsing. Or the motivation carries them long enough to achieve the goal that they wanted to achieve. And once that goal is achieved, the motivation is gone and the desire to remain abstinent from the substance quickly fades. But when we're rooted in determination and discipline, that is where we find strength. That is where we find power. That is where we find achievement. And I would even argue that can be an incredible source of dopamine and joy and happiness when we're seeing a challenge through continually and endlessly. Because in that process, you are constantly growing. I often speak of addiction recovery, especially from cannabis, and people say, how long does it really take to quit? And I'll say, I think it takes about a year. And the reason for that time frame is not only does it take about a year for your brain to heal and rewire new pathways, but it's about a year to go through each of life's different experiences, the changing of the seasons, the graduation parties, the holidays, the highs and the lows of a career or a relationship. Getting sober is all about going through each of life's experiences and figuring out and navigating how to remain sober despite these changing circumstances. And as you could imagine, seeking extrinsic motivation to drive us through that process will often fail. But if our reason why we're quitting is rooted in discipline, determination, patience, and grit, success is almost a guarantee, because then as long as you maintain your stopping smoking weed or quitting smoking weed process and you don't quit on quitting, you constantly have a reason to keep going and keep growing. Look at the reasons that you've identified before in the past and ask yourself, do those reasons really apply to you? Or was it something that you heard me or someone else say in a YouTube video that you thought looked nice on paper in your brain when you wrote it down? Because if that's the case, I promise you eventually that's going to fail. We want to focus on what's important to you, and we want to focus on your growth and your development, because that's ultimately what's going to make this process a lot easier and a lot more successful. Now, again, if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to check out that pinned comment comment to get our free 7-step guide to quitting smoking weed today, or check out our 11 foundational pillars to recovery and sobriety. That's a great free PDF that I made. And if you don't feel like doing any of those things, just follow me right into the next video where I talk a little bit more about why weed withdrawal symptoms are actually a very positive thing. I'll see you guys in one of those 2 spots.